All right, what's up? My name's Danny Swade. Welcome to Wonderneath Weekly, where I share every day what I'm wondering about. You might be noticing my shades. It's because I'm gonna go fast today, so I needed to put these on. Uh, I lost mine at the market yesterday, or someone took them. I think someone might have stolen them out of my pocket or like off my head or my bag. I don't know. I don't know what happened to them. But anyways, that's why I buy cheap sunglasses. But luckily, we're at the fifth biggest street market in the world, so I just got some new shades, and I got these ones and some other ones, but these ones are sick. And anyways, yeah, so we're gonna get it. I want to start off today with some Bible adventures. I've been reading if you don't know, if you're new, I've been reading the entire Bible cover to cover, and I just made it to the New Testament. I'm in Mark. And if you've been following along, you'll know that there's a debate going on, that's about that's about, is Jesus God? Did Jesus claim to be God? I've been kind of wrestling with this and doing research and watching things. Anyway, so I'm doing my own reading too, and I came across some interesting passages. So we're going to go through that, and then there's a couple end times prophecies that Jesus is talking about that I want to also touch on, and then we'll get into the rest of the update and all the other stuff I'm wondering about. So here we go. We're going to flip over here to the Bible, and we're going to look at it. Here we go. This is the Bible. Okay, you can't see this verse because I'm in the way. So this first verse I got right here is when this guy comes to Jesus and he wants to get eternal life, but Jesus says you can't because you're too rich. Or he says, sell all your stuff, give the money to the poor, and follow me, and he goes away sad. Anyways, he says, good teacher, what must I do to inherit eternal life? And Jesus says, why do you call me good? Jesus asked. Only God is truly good. So, what do we think about that? How does that make any sense? You see what I'm saying? I look at that and I go, is that what God would say if Jesus was God? Because he's like clearly differentiating himself from God. And I just go, And I think the idea that Jesus was God comes later. I think it's developed later. This is where I'm leaning. And I'm open to an explanation for why. Like, why would you say that? Like, it just like, what is the point of saying that? Um, if Jesus just was God and claimed to be God and everyone thought he was God and he wanted people to think he was God, why wouldn't he just say that? Otherwise he's freaking lying, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, that's kind of weird, but that's not the only one. We're going to go over here. And now I got to move myself again. Not too long after that, we get this where James and John's, the sons of Zebedee, they're like, yo, want a favor. And Jesus is like, what is it? And they're like, hey, when you're on your throne in heaven, we want to be on your right side and your left side. And Jesus says, well, there's this other thing about them drinking from the bitter cup and being baptized in his baptism of suffering. But then he says, this is what Jesus says, but I have no right to say who will sit on my right or left. God has prepared those places for the ones he has chosen. Oh, you're God, but you have no right to say who sits on your right or left? Because God has prepared those places for the ones he had chosen, but you're God? But what is that? Buddy. Now, I'm open to an explanation for why Jesus is still claiming to be God somehow after saying things like this. And I don't think this is the only stuff he's said that's a little sus. And, you get to John's gospel and he kind of claims to be God in John's gospel, but it's disputed because this isn't consistent with the other gospels and John was maybe taking some liberties. And I think this idea that Jesus is God and they're the same, this developed later, and that's partially what the doctrine needed to be able to spread so good and spread across the world so well. So I don't know what to think of that, but it's sus, right? It's like, especially if the Bible's like the divine word of God, it's like, okay, how are you supposed to read that and like be like, this guy is God, clearly? It's like, I think not. That's just my opinion. Let's go to the next thing, the next Bible thing. Put in the comments what you think. I know when I do shorts of this, people be commenting on the shorts and they're just quoting John, like John. But I'm skeptical of John. Okay, so we got this other thing. This is in my boop 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 boop. Okay, this is in my perplexities. So you got Matthew 16:28, and basically, God's kind of, or Jesus, excuse me, uh, Jesus is saying, talking about the end of the times, right? They're like, when will this stuff happen? Because Jesus is saying the end time's coming. They're like, when will this happen? And he says, here, we'll go here. Truly, I tell you, some who are standing here will not taste death before they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. Um, so it seems like the end times are supposed to happen while the disciples are alive. And there's a bunch of different views on this. But one other thing he says, which I go later and ask about, is he says, this generation will not pass away until all these things take place. That's what Jesus says. So you look, and I'm looking in, and I'm asking, hey, what about the Greek words, and like, what's the most reasonable interpretation of this, and why? And it kind of goes on to say how that word generation is used multiple other times in the Gospels, and those times clearly seems to be talking about the people that are alive then, right? They're talking about the sinful generation that's alive, and that specific Greek word, I'm not going to try to say it, but it looks like what Jesus was talking about was the destruction of Jerusalem, which actually came to pass, that prophecy actually came true. And these language, like you'll see the Son of Man coming on the clouds, and these things, these are hearkening back to Old Testament prophecies, which sound similar. And again, we're about the destruction of Israel. I think it was kind of like that was the center of the world for them. So that's why a lot of these like end times prophecies sound like the world's ending, but really it's just like their world, right? I don't know how much of like a global viewpoint they had at that point in time. But that kind of thwarts the end times situation for me. And again, going back to Jesus claiming to be God, it's like, it seems like Jesus pulled up. He was doing some crazy stuff. I wouldn't necessarily say he wasn't doing some crazy stuff. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. People were gullible back then. Everyone believed in magic, right? So maybe he was, I mean, he had an impact for sure. I would say that for sure. Was he really doing these miracles? Was this stuff real or made up post? I don't know. But it seems like what happened is after he dies, like the lore goes crazy, right? And then all this crazy stuff starts to get circulated and like produced. And I think you see that in John in the Gospels and stuff like that, because they're just taking liberties. You know, it's like they're looking back on this and they have an agenda of trying to spread it everywhere. And maybe they're not purposefully lying, but maybe they're interpreting it in a different way. They're constantly misunderstanding Jesus, the entire Old Testament. It's like everything I'm reading, they're like, Jesus saying some stuff. They're like, what does it mean? He's like, you don't get it? And they're like, no, what does it mean? And so sometimes he explains himself, sometimes not so good. So it could be easy to see how things could be misinterpreted. I don't know. It's really confusing. I'm just not really sold. Getting less and less sold as I read it. Although the thing is, I do think so many of the concepts and the teachings of Jesus are great. I'm like reading some of it and I'm like, wow, I love it. I also had a thought about, I'll say that for another time. Come back another time for a freaking hot take. But anyway, so that's our Bible adventures. Let's pull up back to my update and go through some of these other fun things. List the social networks by daily active users. Okay, so I guess I'll talk about Judah first. So if you watched my Costa Rica vlog, the family I went to Costa Rica with, they sent their oldest son, Judah, to come stay with me in Bangkok for a month. So he's here, and he's like 14. And Summer, his mom, she was telling me they're all coming to Thailand. So I was like, yo, when I was his age, I went to Belize by myself. And it was like really formative, good experience. And I met a family friend down there. And I was like, yo, send Judah here a month early to just hang with me and whatever. So we're doing that. And I'm going to try to have a positive influence on him. I want to try to get him to get on a morning routine with me and do reading, meditation, like planning or reflecting on your life, exercise, and a like sleep schedule. See if we could do it. Well, I don't know if he's down though. I feel like he's probably not, but I'm gonna wait for the right time to suggest it and then see. But we've been hitting the sauna and the pool, which is freaking nice. But anyways, so I'm at the street market with him yesterday, taking him around, And I was like, so you don't use Instagram or anything? He's like, no, Instagram's lame, man. No one uses Instagram. It's cooked. It's like done. And I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? It's like the main one. And he's like, no, dude, it's like freaking lame, dude. It's dead. That's what he said. It's dead. And I was like, what? So I was like, yo, list me. Told Perplexity, list me the social networks by daily active users. So let's look what it is and see if he's right. Wrong. Top is Facebook with 2 billion. WhatsApp 1.8 billion. Instagram 1.7 billion. So Instagram's coming in at 3. YouTube is 1.6 billion. WeChat 1 billion, which is China. TikTok 1 billion. Messenger, and then Snapchat, which is what he uses, which is half a billion. So I was like, bro, you're a loser, dude. No, I didn't say that, but like you're way off. And anyways, but then I looked up, okay, under 18, what's the top ones? And so YouTube is the top for under 18, then TikTok, then Snapchat. So that made a lot more sense because that's what he's on. So I was like, okay, I could see why he thinks that, because that younger generation is mainly on those ones. Which is crazy. Snapchat's still going strong, honestly. But oh, and then Instagram's 4 though. But it's interesting how he has no interest in it. And then Discord, that's crazy. So surprising. I think he got B-Real too. But anyways, so okay, that's that. Next question. Okay, this is funny. So what was the official reason given for the weird Dalai Lama tongue suck thing with the kid? Okay, so I was listening to a Sam Harris, and he was talking about he'd got to do security for the Dalai Lama, and he was talking about like how good how the Dalai Lama was just a vibe, and everything. And then that just reminded me of this weird video when the Dalai Lama tries to get this kid to suck his tongue, and it's like the weirdest shit ever. I remember seeing that and just being baffled, and I'm like, make this make sense. Like, what the fuck? And so I don't remember there ever being an explanation. I remember when the story like blew up. So I was like, oh, by now there's probably like a statement or some explanation. So I wanted to see what it was. So let's see. First, let's watch the video. So if you want to watch this, this is funny. I got it queued up for you. This is freaking awkward, dog. Okay, so they have the kid blurred out, but here we go. Watching they'll say, suck my tongue. Suck my tongue. Sticks it out. That poor kid is being traumatized in real time. Oh, God. Okay, anyway, so that's weird. So it just makes you ask, what is going on? Well, let's see what's going on here. Let's see what they say. I'm not sure if I buy it, I'll be honest. But the official explanation is that it was innocent and playful behavior that has been misinterpreted. The Dalai Lama did apologize. His Holiness often teases people he meets in an innocent and playful way, even in public and before cameras. The apology followed a viral video, blah, blah, blah. His office emphasized that the behavior was reflected in his lighthearted nature, not any inappropriate intent. They defended his actions by saying that they were innocent and typical of his affectionate demeanor, adding that the moment had been misinterpreted through a Western lens and arguing that Tibetan custom sometimes includes sticking out the tongue as a playful or friendly gesture. I don't know if I buy that. I mean, I feel like that's kind of every culture goes, but suck my tongue is a bit much, I think. I don't know. Call me crazy, but I think it's a bit much. I wonder if he's just old. Maybe he's senile and he just didn't really get it. Maybe he's a weird pedo guy and I don't know. It's kind of weird. I'll let you make up your mind what you think about that, but at least that's what the official story is, that he's just having fun, just playful nature. Okay, dude. I don't know if I buy that. I don't know if I buy that. Okay, last one. This is a bit random, but I'm listening to the Twilight of the Twilight of the Iser, which is like Viking history. And it's getting up into the time where there's knights. So I'm asking, when did the classic version of the mounted knight start? Right, your classic knight on the horse with the freaking. When did that start? Take a guess. When do you think? When would you guess it started? When was like kind of the knights popping? You probably have no idea. Well, it was about 900 to the 10th century. So okay, it says the classic version of a mounted knight began 8th to 9th century AD, right? Which is the early origins. But by the 10th century, knighthood had become a social and military institution. So like knights was like knights were a thing 10th century, like your classic freaking knight, but there was like a knight type warrior vibe that was in the 8th and 9th centuries, kind of proto knight, as Dan Carlin calls them, pre knight. Anyways, now you know if you're at trivia and they're like, when did the classic knight start? You know, you're welcome. Okay, let's keep going here. I got Judah. Okay, so quick story. I went to go get my visa. Man, this is the type of thing that makes me hate myself. I went to go get my visa extended. And so I look up how to do it, where to go, blah, 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 how it goes, and watched everything. I pull up, and it's popping. And I was like, no. I was like, dude. I was looking at the line and shit, and I was like, no way. And I went home. And I Googled when's the best time to go after I went, which is stupid. And I know. And it's funny because it was like, whatever you do, don't go on a Friday and don't go the day after a holiday, which it was both. It was a Friday after a holiday when I went. I was like, damn it. Could you be more of an idiot? Anyway, so I know what time to go now, so I'm going to go next week and hopefully not wait for 6 hours to do it. And luckily I got time because I plan ahead. I at least plan ahead a little bit, and I got time. So that's that. But anyways, okay, what I'm watching. This is crazy. This lady can see without her eyes. Oh, by the way, if you want to watch any of this, click the link in the description. You can go to this post, and all the links and everything is here on my blog. It's free to subscribe. You get it in your inbox every week. But anyway, so if you want to look at any of these threads, all these chat threads that I'm going through, these questions, all this resources, all on here. Anyways, this lady can freaking see with a blindfold. It's crazy. And she can see shit behind her head. She holds these shapes behind her head with the blindfold, and she can tell which shape it is. And then she'll put like taping eye patches on her eyes, completely sealed. Hold another eye patch, hold another big eye patch, and then she can see shit that they put in front of her, and sometimes even behind her, even though it's hard. But it's really weird if you watch it, because I think she's legit. Like, here's another search I did. I said, is Dahlia Burgoyne legit? And it said she appears to be a legitimate figure in the field of psychic and spiritual abilities. She's a trained speaker, and she helps blind people be able to see without their eyes. There's no substantial information indicating she's a scam. Instead, she has a community following, scientific interests, and offers group trainings, and she's considered legitimate and respected. And so there's skepticism, but no one's like proved her being a scammer or like doing a trick or something. So that's what's so crazy. And it's weird because there's like patches where she can see and where she can't. And she's like, if things are in front, I could see it easier. And it depends on the blindfold. She'll like switch a blindfold, which kind of makes it seem sketchy, but it's like, some of it's just inexplicable, right? I'm like, this is freaking crazy. It's so mind blowing. And it almost seems like she's just tapping into some other level of perception. Like she's perceiving things, and it has to do with her eyes and their location. So it's like kind of the way sound bounces around and shit, how some blind people can do echolocation. It seems like with the eyes or the mind, there's like some other type of perception that she's like tapping into. It's super interesting if you want to watch it. It's freaking tripped me out. I was like, dude, what is that? Freaking weird, dude. Crazy. Okay, I'm watching Zorhan Mamdani on Flagrant, and I'm not gonna lie, I like the guy. He's likable. I know he's a socialist communist, but I'm so curious because I think he's for sure getting elected. So I'm just curious to see what happens. Like, how does New York do? I don't think he's doing that good, and he's likable. He made a lot of sense to me. I hate to say it, because I'm usually against that kind of stuff, but he made a lot of sense, and he's just a great speaker, and he's super likable, and like jokes with the guys, and like, I don't know, it was interesting. It made me like him. The other crazy thing I'll mention, I don't know if you've seen the video, you should look it up if you haven't, where it's him and all the other candidates, I think 8, and they're like, once you're in office, where would you visit? And down the line, Israel. Oh, I want to go to Israel. I'm going to Israel. Literally down the line, to a T, every single one, till it gets to him. And he's like, I'm staying in the 5 boroughs with New Yorkers, and I'm going to make change here. I'm not going anywhere. And then after him, Israel, 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 everyone. What is that? Is that the weirdest thing? That's like so weird to me. I'm like, why does that, what is that? I don't know what is that? I don't know. But it's alarming to me. I'm like, who could see that and not be like, what the fuck? That's weird. Anyways, Good podcast. Okay, another thing I'm watching. Chris Williamson vlog. Badass, dude. Makes him seem like such a G. So inspiring. He's just killing it. The vibes are sick. He's ripping. It was just cool. If you want to get inspired, I would watch it. And then what I'm reading, Gospel of Mark. We already got into that. But I do want to talk about, I'm watching Jordan Peterson's Gospel series, Gospel seminar, as I read, right? Because it's really cool to hear all these different scholars from different backgrounds decode the Bible. Sometimes they're arguing. They have Dennis Prager there. He's a Jew. He doesn't believe in Jesus. He likes Christianity, but it's awesome because he'll argue shit. And I'm like, nice. Like, it's not all just like echo chamber. So they have a lot of different perspectives in there, and it's really good. And we're going to watch the trailer real quick. So here we go. Let's watch it.
Christ is a master at using short, mysterious stories. They change the listener who takes them seriously. My experience with the biblical text is that they're inexhaustible sources of wisdom. If I find something in them that is an obstacle, it's because there's something in me that has yet to be transformed. I just don't get it.
The person that you do not think could ever be virtuous, oh, let me show you. This is the person who is fulfilling the law and the prophets.
But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you as well.
I don't believe in that promise. I'll just be honest at this point. That has not been part of my experience.
This parable I've been trying to understand forever. While we were talking and while we were sitting there, then it hit me. I saw it.
Name me one ideology that has supplanted Christianity that has done good for humanity. This Jew is very frightened of a post-Christian society.
He was the God-man, the model, the example of what we ought to become and what we can become.
It's okay. It's safe for you and all of your doubts and apprehensions to open up and to let these stories in.
He is the temple. He is the Torah. He is the covenant. He is prophecy fulfilled.
If you're doing this and it isn't also the love of wisdom, it's also an attempt at wisdom without love. In both ways, you're going radically wrong.
Power of love. It sounds so cliche when you say
60s, eh? I don't want to be in a Hallmark card, I tell you.
We've got our work cut out for us, gentlemen. This is one peculiar time and one peculiar text, and I sure hope we're up to the task.
That's pretty hype, honestly. That made me more stoked for it. So far I haven't been enjoying it more than the Old Testament one, the Exodus one. But we'll get it. You know, it's a useful resource as I'm going. But I'm chugging along, baby. Bible Dan. Okay, let's keep going. What I'm listening to. Do Chainsmokers. There's one song on the new album or EP or whatever you want to call it that I like. It's really weird though. It's so vanilla. It's like just a good mel. Sounds great. It's really vanilla vibe. Chill mode. Pretty interesting. Nothing special. Nothing fancy. Chill, but good. So there's that. Again, click the link in the description. You want to check it. Okay, photo dump. Let's go. This is me at the pool, bro. I'm back at this condo, right? I switched condos. I'm back at the original condo where it all started, bro. And it's a vibe, and I love it. And I've been up in the pool at night and hitting the sauna and swimming, and it's a freaking vibe, dude. Look at the views. This is me and Judah at the street market. And those are other new glasses that I got. And I got some fried pork, and we got some Thai merch, and we got it in my bag. We didn't get it at the street market. We got it at Uniqlo. But like the first day we go out, and he's like, can you hold my money? I was like, bro, you don't have a bag? He's like, I don't have a bag. I was like, let's get you a bag, dog. So we went and got him one at Uniqlo. And it's a front bag, so you can't get pickpocketed. Here's Judah again at the condo. Here's a funny meme. Normalize this, normalize that. How about you feel shame for once? I love that, dude. It's so good. It's so attacking. They're like, normalize eating everything you want every day. They're like, no. How about you feel shame for once? Oh, it's so funny. This is me with my host of my last condo. When I left, he wanted to take a picture. You know what's so funny? I'm such a dingbat. So with that other condo, yeah, I have a key that opens the door to the, or not a condo, it's a house, but opens the door and opens the gate. So I put all my stuff down the stairs and at the gate, and I double checked the room and everything, and I was going to leave the key in the room. You know, I can't take it. So I double check nothing's in there because I'm going to leave the key in the room and I can't get back in if it's in there. So I do. And then I go out of the gate. My Uber's out there. Guess what? Can't open the freaking gate. I'm stuck. And the guy's calling me. He's like, come on. I'm like, bro, I can't come out. I'm stuck behind the gate. So anyways, I'm calling the guy. finally got a hold of him, and he came out and let me out. But what an idiot, man. Sometimes they do things like that, and I'm like, am I retarded or what? I don't know. Anyways, new shades, killing it. Night view from the pool, bro. It just never gets old. It's so sick. And then here's a funny YouTube comment I got, which really actually lightened my heart. They said, it's wild because your music is very cheesy and perky, but your mindset is more dark, like mysterious, like you're into deep subjects. You got a good balance. I'm into sad music, but somehow I'm still drawn to your uplifting music. It's catchy. Bro, that hit, bro. That is it, bro. I feel like that encapsulates me, bro. I make the happy, cheesy music, but I am philosophical and deep in a lot of ways. So that was good to hear, because that's kind of like, what is that? Validating? I don't know. Let's go. It was nice. Okay, here's some art from the street fair. We went to the art section, and this was a cool art piece they had there, so I like that. Very interesting, very cool. This is a little meme. Little butterflies, maybe in another life. Yeah. And it just made me feel some feelings. You know, I was feeling some feelings. I wanted to share it. I like it. Okay, here we go. Music demo. This is what I wrote last week. It's called Coffee. Let's take a listen. It's really simple. I tried to go simple mode. It's not that developed. It's pretty chill mode and not that dialed, but we're going to listen to it anyway. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, go.
When you know which way the wind blows, the truth is hard to hide. But I'll wait till the morning to see what's eating me inside. I hope I trust the right divine so I can make amends. But for right now I find myself wrapped up in your arms again. So pour some coffee, baby. I know that you can't save me, but I can fool myself for a time. I know that it sounds crazy that one of us is waiting for love while the other one sharpens a knife. Sight of blood, but feelings freak me out. It's funny that I'm full of both, but just one is pouring out. Now I'll maintain my consciousness for just a little longer. I'd like to use my will to live, but my loneliness is stronger. So pour some coffee, baby. I know that you can't save me, but I can fool myself for a time. I know that it sounds crazy that one of us is waiting for love while the other one sharpens a knife. Coffee, baby, I know that you can't save me, but I can fool myself for a time. I know that it sounds crazy, but one of us is waiting for love while the other one sharpens their knife.
I'm gonna work on that tomorrow. And then here, it looks like we got a little time left. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna show you my updated version of my other song that I showed, I think last week. I worked on it a bunch, not what we want. So I worked on this a bunch, so we got a new version of this. Let's listen to this. This is not what we want.
No one ever wanted a robot to write their song. None of us ever asked to trade our free time for a TikTok. All of the second order consequences of our addictions are causing friction, but no one picked it. That's not what we wanted when we got an iPhone. That's not what we wanted to walk into when we got home. And nobody wants bad posture, but that touchscreen is gonna cost you. Now we gotta pay it up, but I'm not down. Every time I run out of battery, I thank God.
Made this new verse.
Throw my phone at the foot of my bed. Take
We
it
need to put a
inside.
kick drum right here.
I don't want to live my life through a screen. When we ask for technology, this isn't what we mean. That's not what we wanted when we got an iPhone. That's not what we wanted to walk into when we got home. And nobody wants bad posture, but that touchscreen is gonna cost you. Now we gotta pay it up, but I'm not down. That's not what we want, and that's not what we asked for. Ooh.
This part's cool. I added in all the notification sounds that I planned on.
That's not what we
Sick.
wanted when we got an iPhone. That's not what we wanted to walk into when we got home. And nobody wants bad posture, but that touchscreen is gonna cost you. Now we gotta pay it up.
Now this is nasty.
I'm not down.
Come on. Okay. That's everything. We're about at 30 minutes. Thanks for watching. Make sure to click the link in the description if you want to get my updates. It's free. They'll go in your inbox each week. You just put in your email and you can get my updates, my photo dumps, what I'm listening to, what I'm wondering about, what I'm watching. Best way to stay up to date with me since I'm not on social media, even though I am considering a return. And yeah, anyways, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. We'll be back. And peace.